Have you ever wondered what it would be like to be a student inside of Safety Management Academy? Maybe you've had this on your to-do list that one day you will join the program, or maybe you have looked into it and thought, is it really going to make a difference in my career? So today I am going to have a discussion with one of our students so that way you can get a sneak peek of what it's like to so that way you can see the results that you can create in your career by applying the lessons in the program. Let's get to it.
Free audio post-production by alphonic.com.
Hey there, safety friends. Welcome to the Safety Geek Podcast. I'm your host, Bryce Sargent, CSP and 27-year safety professional. After spending years training safety leaders across the globe for a large organization and creating safety programs from the ground up over and over again, I'm now sharing my processes and strategies with you. At the Safety Geek, you will learn how to manage an effective safety program that increases your management support and employee engagement, all the while helping you elevate your position and move up in your career. If you're ready to step into the role of a safety influencer, you're in the right place, my friend. Let's get to it. Hello, my safety friends. Today, I have something super special for you. So I have been having several chats with our students inside of Safety Management Academy and talking with them just about their decision to join the program and the results that they have seen from the program, as well as their opinions about the program. So today, I have one of those interviews, but I want to caveat it first because I spoke with Wesley, which you're going to meet in just a second, right when I was in the middle of going through like my spring of just being sick constantly. So when you hear me asking him questions, you will hear that my voice is just awful. I think I was sucking cold drops the whole time during the interview. So I apologize for that, but it is a really good interview because the results Wesley has seen since applying the lessons from the program have been amazing. So if you have been on the fence about Safety Management Academy, hopefully this will answer some of your questions or concerns, and then I will see you inside the program. Enjoy this interview with Wesley.
So let's start off with your name, your current job title, and what industry you work in.
My name is Wesley Sanchez. I currently work for Excel Energy, and I am the Senior Safety Consultant for Transmission.
Where were you in your career and life before joining Safety Management Academy?
In my career before I found Safety Geek, I was like all safety consultants or whatever it be. I dropped into the position not knowing what I was getting myself into. And it happened to be, there was no one to talk to. There was no one to ask questions. I had to literally figure it out as I was going. And it was quite a while before I found the Safety Geek. And what ended up happening during that time is I figured a lot of it out. But when I found the Safety Geek and I heard Bri talking on YouTube and stuff like that, I was like, wow, what an amazing person, And then the first thing I did was trying to justify the cost of, for the Safety Geek. And in the end, I have no regrets. It did a couple of things for me. One is it confirmed that I was on the right track. Two, it was nice to have someone speaking to the areas I didn't know very well. And then also, it gave me that confirmation that the direction I was going was correct. And it's kind of hard being in this by yourself when you have to look back to or ask questions to. But the training, amazing. It gave me all the confidence that I needed, and then also confirmed the areas I was going correctly. And there's a lot I took away from it.
Awesome. So when you started working with us, what were your goals? Like, what did you hope to accomplish getting out of it?
One of my goals for taking the training were to First off, learn some of the things that I didn't know. I'm always open for infinite growth mindset and always learning and taking into consideration that other people have better ways of doing things that I may have, that I'm doing them. And when I started going through the training and just confirming that I was on the right track, and then I found areas like, one of the things that Bri talked about is how getting to know the employees personally, not just saying hi to them every day, but actually keeping track of what's in their life and growing those relationships with them. And when you start doing that, it really does open up a lot of doors to just that interaction. And the culture is the number one thing that you have to change in safety. And that's one of the things that I did take away, is growing that safety culture that I would. And that was some of the goals, is to grow the safety culture, change the mindset of the management, find different ways and techniques of pulling safety in, because you could have your herd, but if you can't lead them, then you don't really have safety. And that's the number one thing that I took away from the Safety Geek, is how to really gather that culture together and make your culture even top notch.
That's awesome. What was like your last straw? So like you had said that you had to justify the decision of investing in yourself and all of that. What were the things happening at the time that was just like the last straw and you knew that you had to do things differently?
I didn't really have a last straw where like I needed to change, because I was on the right track. It's just, I just needed that confirmation, you know what I mean? Because it was kind of lonely being by myself. But
You weren't working in energy when you first started, were you? You were like, weren't you, if I remember correctly, because we had a conversation when you first started, you were at a company for a really long time.
25 years.
So you were at the previous company for 25 years. What made you make the decision to change industries?
So one of the major things that took place in my previous company that I worked for 25 years, and I did safety for that company for 12 years. After taking the training for Safety Geek, I came to realize that there's a lot that goes into changing management perception, employee perception, safety perception. And after I had learned these skills and became better at communicating with the management, the emails and the better communication with our safety director, and also, not the safety director, the vice president of the company. And after I had become better at communication, one of the things that really stood out to me is they really wanted to have safety, but when it came to actually committing and getting the buy-in from the employees, they didn't really have safeties back. And I felt like at the time, knowing what I knew after taking the training and what we were lacking, and then presenting it to the company onto fixing what we were lacking, and still falling upon deaf ears because they want to keep on trucking the same way they had been going for years. It came apparently obvious to me that at some point someone was going to pass away on my watch. And although I knew what needed to be done, it was hard for them to understand, to make changes themselves, and how safety comes from the top down. And if it doesn't, then, you are going to have issues. And they really did have a good intentions of safety for the most part, but they just didn't quite understand where their role interacted, of how management controls culture and culture controls safety. And that's where we were lacking. I didn't want to have anyone die on my watch ever. And so it led me to go to a company that does have more safety mindset, and the employees are involved 100%. And that's what I'm working for now, is an energy company who they don't have the leeway to make mistakes. An employee is not paying attention in this position or this job, they may not be going home. So it's important to make sure that the company does actually have the best interest of all the employees, and they're promoting safety like way it should be. It's a top-down safety, and the employees are actually driving the safety themselves. And that's the culture that you want, and the culture where the employees are actually driving the safety. And I do feel like I wished I would have had more time to spend time with that of the company to maybe get them to where they need to be before it was their culture of management top down. I'm sure if I would have had more time to work with them, I could have actually done that. But being that I took the training from Safety Geek and they actually gave me the skills to actually go on and feel more confident working for a large corporation like I'm working for, I couldn't pass this opportunity, and I had to take it. And it was largely because of the confidence that the training gave me.
Awesome. Would you say that you're in a better position, like financially, to support your family better now that you're in the new position, or is it about the same?
Wow. When it comes to the change in my pay, now currently make around $50,000 more than what I was making with the previous company. As in terms of taking care of my family, my life has improved quite a bit. And that's, like I said, having the Safety Geek to give you that confidence and to go into the interview and to answer questions top notch, and the way they should have been answered, even because the confidence and the training that I had from Safety Geek made that apparent, and it made it so they wanted to select me to be in this position. And it's benefited me in my life.
That's freaking awesome, Wesley. I remember talking to you when you first signed up, and I was like, you need to leave that job because you've been there for too long and you're not going to get the pay you deserve. And I am so happy that you're finally getting the pay that you deserve. That is amazing.
Not only did they bring me over, but I mean, I went over as just the safety consultant, at first, and then they promoted me to senior safety within a year. So
That is so awesome. That is awesome. How did you approach the learning materials in Safety Management Academy, and how did you apply it to your work? Do you have any tips or tricks for new students?
So the way I approached taking all the courses is I'm the type of person where I like to do it over and over until I feel like I have it down. There's a lot of information to digest, and it's well organized, it's well put together. But the problem that I had going through, and it's not a problem, it's a good thing, but the problem I had was I was going through, I would be like, oh, I just learned something new. And I'm like, I got to experiment with this first before I move on. So before I knew it, it took me almost 2 years to go through the whole entire program, because as I was learning the information, how to do it differently, I was going back through and practicing it in the actual job. So I had to keep on restarting over and over because it was great information. And after I had that problem solved, then I'd move on to the next course and I'd be like, oh, here's 10 more things I got to deal with. So I'd go through and I'd start working and implement them into the company. So it really was amazing to have a lot of that information and going through and testing it and actually working with it and adjusting it as I learned it. And great stuff. It was just an amazing program all the way around.
So what does the future hold for you? What are your goals now that you're in this new position? Let's say 5 years from now, where is Wesley going to be?
I was the safety director at the previous company, and there was a lot of challenges and stresses that come along with holding that position and management and being responsible for not just the 18 employees that I had under me, but also responsible for I think it was close to 5,000 employees at the time that we had at the previous company. And there's a lot of stress that came with that. There was a lot of countless hours that I was putting in. And one thing that I did miss out on is my daughters, and they were growing up without me. So now at this point, I took on this new role where I can actually work 40 hours, get paid still good money, and be home with my family. And so my future goals, for right now, I don't have ambitions to want to be back in management anytime soon. It really did take the life out of me being in that position. And maybe someday it might come back to where I want to crave management again. And it was really fun being a leader, and not just a manager or a boss, but a leader to the group and people wanting to follow us and support the decision that I was making on best, and being open-minded to everybody collaborating to steering safety the direction it should go, and not just one person, but as a group we'd speak. But it's for right now, my goal is to basically be the best safety consultant that I could be right now and support the groups that I support on any information or job tasks that they have to make their day safe, make sure they go home at the end of the day. And maybe in the future that might change, but that's what my future is right now.
That's awesome. And last question, is there anything else you want to add that you want to tell anyone who's considering joining Safety Management Academy?
Well, like I said, my life has improved quite a bit. It's given me the skills, the knowledge, the confidence. And like I said, management controls the culture controls the safety. And if you can't get those people to follow your direction, then at that point, you're not going to be really leading safety like the way you should be. So my encouragement is take the training. It's fairly cheap considering the long term and the goal of what you want to be later on in life, and giving you that confidence. So to me, it's a drop in the bucket for any of the money that's being charged. And I can't speak nothing but highly of the program, and being that Bri is constantly there to answer questions if you need her to. She has her talk sessions. I encourage you to get in there and ask those questions. She makes herself available. And I feel bad sometimes I miss those sessions, but I try to catch them when I can.
That's awesome. Thank you so much, Wesley.
I do really like everything that you're promoting, and I really did mean it. That it gave confidence. And by the time I had found you, I'd already worked out a lot. There's a learning curve to safety. Whatever. And when I first got into safety, I was trampling the hell out of the managers. And learning how to work the room. But I actually stopped and I actually started making them a part of the decision making and helping get to where we need to be, it made a huge difference in safety. But after I found you, to like, well, figured that out the long way. But you know what I mean? It's nice to see it. There was someone else confirming it, because there's no one there to teach you that kind of stuff. You smash that, whatever, and then you don't get buy-in, and then you have to relearn and go back and start from the beginning of trying to re-educate. And when you do that to people, it takes a while for them to get past that you wronged them at what they feel is wrong. But it sets you back quite a bit. You know what I mean? It took me a while to get their trust back and to get that safety back to where we need to be. But I have to say, if I'd had this from the beginning, I wouldn't have trampled so many people.
I love to hear that, because I felt that way too. I messed up in the beginning too. And they used to call me the trailer Nazi, because I would go around and be looking for what they did wrong, because that's what I was taught to do. And it took a long time to build trust up after that, that I was there to help, not to hurt, and not to find out what they're doing wrong. So I get it. But when you do it wrong in the beginning, it's really hard to get them to change. That's why, I don't know if you noticed it in the free course, one of the things I talk about is this is the layers that everybody tends to do. It's about really, you need to give the big picture and just work on milestones towards it, because every layer is a change that you're making them go through. And that's really hard to get people to do. It just confirmed my thinking too. So I appreciate it.
It was needed, you know what I mean, to have that. I wish I'd, like I said, I wish I'd found you earlier, because it would have been a lot less stress in my life.
Well, I'm glad you're on the right path now. I'm glad that you're able to support your family better, and that it's changed your life and you get to spend more time with your kids. That's amazing. And I'm glad that you're happy where you are, and you're doing so good, Wesley. So thank you so much.
Hey, if you're just getting started in safety, or you've been at this for a while and are hitting a roadblock, then I want to invite you to check out Safety Management Academy. This is my in-depth online course that not only teaches you the processes and strategies of an effective safety management program, but how to entwine management support and employee participation throughout your processes. Are you ready to finally understand exactly what you should be doing and ditch that safety police hat forever? Then you have got to join me and your fellow safety scholars over at Safety Management Academy. Just go to thesafetygeek.com/SMA to learn more and to get started. That's thesafetygeek.com/SMA. And I will see you in our next students only live session. Bye for now.